Welcome back to the Better People podcast. Here's part two of my conversation with my brother, Raymond Washington. Welcome back to the Better People podcast. And as you know, I've started this podcast because I believe that the fastest way to understanding is by listening. And so the guests that I bring on aren't necessarily better people, but they are the vehicle or the conduits to help you to become better people. Because I believe conclusions are often drawn based on perspectives that aren't really based in experience and or maybe hearing the other person's perspective. And so I'm welcoming back my brother. This is part two of our conversation. And if you didn't get a chance to listen to part one, I would encourage you after listening to this one, maybe go back and see what you can learn about this man. So without further ado, I am welcoming back my brother Raymond Washington. Hi.
Hey,
Ha-
glad to be back.
Hello,
Glad to be
hello.
back. What's up?
I'm
Hello.
I'm 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 happy you back too. Now, my guests don't know. They probably know I play too much, but
Who?
I I play three much when it comes down to you. Okay, and so I'm gonna try to keep myself. I'm gonna hold myself together over here and not not be your much younger baby sister on this call. I'm gonna try to be an adult here and really engage this conversation well. You're
All
welcome.
right. Good luck.
Anyway, so I wanted to start this conversation off as I reflect back on when we came to pick you up, when we drove up to
Okay.
pick you up. So just a little bit of insight. My baby brother was driving us there, and he actually had picked me up. I was already in San Francisco, and he picked me up from there, and we were about an hour away from um, where we were picking you up from. And so we were 40 minutes away. And my baby brother just points that out. He's like, we're 40 minutes away, you guys. And I thought, oh, that's kind of cool, and then we were 15 minutes away and he did the same. We're 15 minutes away. And we were 3 to 4 minutes away, and he said the same thing. And when we pulled up, you were in a van, and we pulled into we pulled into the location where you were, and there were places to park because your van was parked the same place. But my brother stopped right in the middle of the entranceway, and he just got out of the car, and you came out, and his hug, he embraced you, and as I watched, it was very natural and really a beautiful sight. And we all just kind of waited our turns for that same thing. And then when you got in the vehicle, you got in, and we're still hugging and touching, and I'm squeezing you, and it wasn't until later that it dawned on me that maybe your experience had been different, all of these years. And so, like we shared in the first part of the podcast, that you've been gone from us for 44 years. And although we've engaged in conversations over the phone and had visits, um, this moment was completely different for us. So, with all of that being said, I guess my question I want to pose to you is, what did connection look like for you while on the inside, comparatively? Like, you know, all of what we were doing and all of what you had naturally experienced over the years.
Connection. Uh, well, when you say connections, what comes to mind, connections with family members or connection just in general. Uh, Connection. Uh, that's what we all strive for inside behind those walls,
Mm,
to maintain some type of connection with
mm,
the outside world. Um, it's when you it's when you lose that connection is when you start losing a piece of yourself.
Mm,
That's when you stop caring. It's the connection is what uh centers you.
mm,
Uh it's not hard to tell when you come in to one of these places. It's not hard to tell who is and who isn't, the people who are and who aren't uh, having connection with
mm,
someone outside.
mm,
You can tell. You know, it's obvious. It shows. My experience with connection was the difference between night and day.
mm,
And what I mean by that, is what kept me sane. It's what kept
mhm,
me, along with a few other things, but the connection. Our mother making it her business to no matter whether I was in Lancaster, no matter whether I was in Pelican Bay, she made her business to get there and to
yeah.
maintain that connection with me. Uh, it was as though she understood, even when I didn't really understand the importance of it. You know, as men, you know, we in this society and probably in a lot of societies, especially uh, societies where, or should I say, I guess you would call them patriarchal societies, men are taught to be strong and independent.
Mhm,
We're taught to not show any weaknesses. We're taught to, you know, be just be strong. But
yeah.
even with that said, uh, we still long for that. We still long for that connection, whether it be with a family member, whether it be with their significant other, whether it be with their child. Uh, those are things that keep you human.
Yeah.
Those are things that help you maintain some of humanity,
Mm,
even in the midst of being in an environment where you lose humanity at an alarming rate. Uh, my experiences with humanity, and particularly with and in this case, I may be a little I'm not gonna say I'm unique, but I know a lot of guys, in the circles I ran in, uh, didn't really have the support that I have. And it's not that I'm bragging about it. I'm grateful for it. I feel
yeah.
blessed that I had the support of my family and all of you who never let me forget that. Hey, when you get through being stupid, we're out here. We're waiting on you. I mean, whenever you decide, hey, we out here, you know, we're waiting on you. And that made all the difference in the world because, like I said, I went down a rabbit hole, so to speak, that proverbial rabbit hole that that we go down, and that thing I was talking about in part one about being in denial. You don't want to always be faced with to think about the things that you are missing, the things that you have sacrificed by your behavior and your bad decisions. You don't want to think about that. So what you do, you try to put it out your mind, and then you get yourself involved in other activities in here that are usually, well, I can't say for everybody else, but for me, they were self-destructive activities, and those were the things that kind of stood in the way of me getting home sooner.
Mhm,
As I told y'all in part one that I had 27 life. Uh, I did 27 life turned into 44 years.
yeah.
That was because my behavior. I could have been out 20 years ago, and
Mhm,
that's not an honor. That's a sign of stupidity. That's a sign of
mm,
ignorance. Uh,
yeah.
but in this world, that becomes your norm. People look at you like, ooh, just goes to show you how backwards our thinking becomes in here. A guy coming here with 20 years to do, and if he does what he's supposed to do and behaves, pro-socially, positively pro-socially, he can get out in probably half that time. But you'll
Mhm,
have guys will walk around here proud of the fact that they did their whole sentence,
mm,
and that'll be a sign of, oh, he's down, or he's he about business. He's
Mm,
standing on business. And
mm,
it just shows you how warped and how
yeah,
distorted our thinking. And a lot of times that has to do with the fact that, you have lost your connection.
yeah,
You've lost your
yeah,
connection. There's a disconnect not only with your family, but there's a disconnect with reality.
hmm
You
Yeah,
know,
what's interesting is, when you mention that, you said, that it means that there was a disconnect there. Um, but the other thing that I'm thinking about too, and I know we've talked about is, when you can't just come in, you went in with a certain mindset. You went in after you received your sentence, and you had a certain way of thinking, as you shared in part one. And that partnered with the connection or disconnection, just seems to, be a recipe for disaster.
well,
The combination of the two, because although as you just shared, you had, mom was very present and you had that connection, but you had this other thing, that was also going on. And I think,
right,
oftentimes people, I think the disconnection on our side, um, what you called earlier, free society, which is an interesting statement within itself, um, is that there is, we don't understand that. We don't understand really the importance of the connection necessarily. And I don't think the society really kind of supports that understanding. And I thought once, which is maybe a political statement that I'm not really trying to make. But when Gavin Newsom, under his leadership, I no longer had to pay for you to give me a call, that it was now free
right,
for you to call me.
right.
I think at that point, it clicked for me that there was something always kind of in between. Like, if you can't afford to pay for you to call me, there was not going to be, if I couldn't afford to pay for that, there wasn't going to be a connection there.
Exactly.
And so when that happened, it really did click in my brain, the importance of you being able to connect. But again, we'll get into those conversations about that, later. But I just kind of wanted to speak a little bit to connection from the outside, or from free
Yeah,
society, as you called it, which
for
I do
sure.
want to engage that later as well.
For sure. For
Um,
sure.
One of the other questions here that I have for you is, what role did imagination, memory, or faith, play in staying connected to life?
Oh, imagination, faith. Oh man. Imagination. That uh that's a double-edged sword.
Okay.
That's a double-edged sword. Uh I don't know if you ever seen the movie Shawshank Redemption, but there's a part in where Morgan Freeman speaks about hope.
Mm-hmm.
Hope is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those weren't the exact words, but hope is a dangerous thing. And
Mm,
what he was trying to say by that is that it's the thing that it's a double-edged sword. Hope you can maintain the hope uh that you can get out of here or that things are going to get better, but in maintaining that hope, it takes strength, and sometimes it takes strength that we don't even know we have.
mm,
And then there are times where that same concept of hope, depending on what's going on in your environment, what's going on with you, it can work against you. And what I mean by that, and you kind of touched on that, about the connection, how I went down that rabbit hole, even though I had this connection, I still went down that rabbit hole because there were times where I uh I wanted to come home. I didn't know how to get home.
mm,
I didn't really even understand that there were things in place. And what I mean by that, and without getting too political, there was a time I'm gonna just simplify it and say in California politics where it wasn't meant for me to come home. You know, it was meant for me to do a long term. It was meant for me to stay in here and provide a free labor force, so to speak, just to let's make it put it in simple terms. Uh, so I didn't even have an understanding of that. And once I did, uh, it gave me a different perspective of what was going on here and what role I was playing in my own demise. You
Mm.
know, in my own demise. A lot of times we don't even know. Sometimes we become our own worst enemies in here. Uh, but the role of hope and faith, uh, as you said earlier, you spoke earlier. We were raised in the Nation of Islam, and as Nation of Islam members, we were kind of taught to be somewhat. We were in the community, in the Black community, but we weren't necessarily a part of it. We were in the
Yeah.
society, but we weren't necessarily a part of it. We were somewhat.
Yeah.
Now, I kind of uh, to simplify, I say we were kind of like non-conformists because we didn't celebrate holidays such as Fourth of July, Christmas, and national observances. We didn't partake in those things, and we were taught that's not what we're about. We were taught to shun those things, social norms,
Mm-hmm.
like such like that.
Mm-hmm.
We were taught to shun those things. So, with that said, uh, faith uh, was taught to us in a different way than the people that we were growing up around, because we grew up in a Judeo-Christian society, and the things we were practicing were kind of a little different, and so a little different, a little different, in some instances even contrary, you because I know you can remember, on Christmas Day, all the kids are riding their new toys and everything, and
Yes,
and we
yes.
and we looking out the window like, and our only explanation is we don't celebrate Christmas. That would be all. That would always be our response. That would be our patented response. We didn't understand why. We didn't have nothing. We have no concept of what this thing about not celebrating Christmas was. We just knew we didn't, and
Yeah.
we just accepted that. So coming into prison, because we left the Nation of Islam prior to me coming to prison. So uh, faith with respect to religion had kind of like fell on the wayside, fell on the wayside for me, because once we left the nation, we didn't immediately go into something else. We kind of like just kind of like I guess we just winged it, man, and just blended into society the best way we knew how.
Mm-hmm.
Even with all the I'll call it the backwash of being told and taught that everything in society is the creation of the devil. And we don't now we're part of it. We're in it now, and you know, uh, I think that had something to do with the way I began to be antisocial. And when I say antisocial, I'm not talking about just the a lot of times when people say antisocial, they think, oh, he don't talk, or that means he don't talk, or he don't socialize with people. Antisocial would mean that I just didn't conform to social norms.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm trying to become a part of this society that I've been told was not for me, and not only that was bad. Now I'm becoming a part of it, and I really know how to handle it in a productive way. And I think a lot of that led to the fact that one day we were in the Nation of Islam, and one day we weren't. There was
Yeah.
no discussion. We
Yeah.
just go, go.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
day we were in the Nation of Islam school. Next day we were in public school. There was
Yeah.
no buffer. So, like I say, I think that had a lot to do with the not so good way I adjusted. And so coming to prison, faith was not really a part of my day with respect to religion. I've always been a person who believed in God, but I've always kind of like been a bit confused with respect to is he Jehovah? Is he Allah? I've always, even to this very day. So it didn't really play a big part until Faith, with respect to faith and believing in spirituality, and started playing a big part in my life until about the late '90s when I started exploring, actually getting into and studying different faiths. And I was in the midst of checking out the Native Americans uh, form, the way they practice spirituality, and it kind of like it got my attention, in particular one of the ceremonies that they have called the purification ceremony, which is the sweat ceremony, where you go into like what they call it an anipi. It's not a teepee. A lot of people mistake it for a teepee, but it's called an anipi, and it's something that's shaped like a turtle with the opening in the front. And we go inside, and they bring in hot rocks to have water poured on, and the flaps close. And it's a ceremony where it you pray, and you allow this heat to hit your body and try your best to be as disciplined as you can to not let it run you out of there, while at the same time maintaining a mental connection with whomever it is that you see as your creator. So for me, that physical, tangible experience, as opposed to like other religions we have practiced, it just, you just have a thought that if I do this, I do that, this is what's going to happen. Hopefully, if I do this and I do this right now, I'll go to heaven. If I do this and I do that, I'll go to hell. Whereas in this practice here, there was something tangible. I could
Hmm.
feel the difference when I came out that ceremony in my
Hmm.
body. Those were tangible things. So that's when
Hmm.
I was able to start, really getting into what you refer to as faith,
Hmm.
um, because it was more tangible, and I could really feel the difference in who I was
Yeah.
when I went through that. Hope. Uh, I always hoped I'd come home, just to know how to, just to
Hmm.
know how to, didn't know how to um, think past the moment. You know, uh, you don't think when you're 18, 19 years old, you don't think or take into account how your behavior now is going to affect you 20 years from now.
Yeah.
It's not possible for an 18-year-old, a young cat to have, you just don't have the capacity to think like that. And it
Sure.
was, like I say, it wasn't until, like I say, around about the late '90s where uh, I got involved in this study of spirituality that I began to change inside. Uh, I started believing that, having some ethics, having some morals was uh, a good thing,
Mm.
even in the midst of that negative environment. How
Hmm.
it would serve you well to still maintain some morals and ethics, and
Mm.
I began to really see that. And
Hmm.
we all say we don't care what people think about us. Peer pressure is powerful. You know, People always say, I don't care what nobody think about me. Come on, man. We all care about what somebody thinks about us, man. We live on that a lot, man. Even when you're doing the right thing, when you are involved you're going along, you're living a a life absent of criminality. You don't care what people think about you. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? You
Hmm.
care when you apply for that job, don't you care about that interviewer, what he think about you? You're trying
Yeah.
to impress him so he will hire
Right.
you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You don't go in there acting like you don't care what he thinks.
Right.
You go in there and put on your best foot forward. So we
Yeah.
all care about what somebody think about us, but peer pressure can be negative and peer pressure can be positive. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, a lot of negative peer pressure ruled my day. And like I say,
Yeah.
up until the '90s, that was this time in the '90s I'm talking about. That ruled my day. That ruled my
Okay.
day to day. But up until that point is when I started really changing and looking forward, to something different because from 81 to I say like 98, it was the same old thing, same old practice, same old beliefs, and nothing had changed. And
Yeah.
at some point, you get sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Yeah.
but you still got to have a path.
Yeah.
Still have
Yeah.
to have a path. It just doesn't just it don't just happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta figure it out. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think all of that is very interesting and insightful and enlightening. My next question for you is what, and kind of switch reels a bit here. What has surprised you the most about the world since coming home?
It has my surprises have been on two different levels, on two different ends of the spectrum. And what I
Okay.
mean by that is that the technology, the
Mm-hmm.
advancement in technology, we've seen technology advance. So much has happened with technology in the last 25 years. More, shall I say, more has happened in the last 25 years than has happened in the 100 years prior to that. With the advancement of technology. Things have
Sure.
happened so
Sure.
fast that it's just mind blowing.
What
When
was
I
the
look
number that you said in the last what?
in the last 25 years, more has happened
25
in the
years.
last 25 years than has happened all the time before that with the advancement of technology. For
Sure.
instance, there was no such thing as cell phones when I left the street. No
Yeah.
such thing. We got
Yeah.
cars that drive themselves now. These things in my ear, wireless communication, that was unheard of.
Yeah.
That was unheard of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, on the other side though, on the other end of the spectrum, when I walk down the street, I see poverty that I never had ever seen before.
Mm,
The
mm,
homelessness.
mm.
I see people right across the street from where we live with blankets sleeping on the sidewalk.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that surprises me that in the country with such advancements that we still have poverty like that. And I mean,
Hmm.
it could be, I'm sure it's debatable, why, how it happened. We can debate that day in, day out. We can talk about the ills or the benefits of living in a capitalistic society. But in answer to your question, those are the two things that have really surprised me: the advancements, as well as on the other side of the coin, the poverty, the homelessness, the hopelessness
Hmm.
that some
Mm,
people, not everyone is sharing in this American dream.
mm, mm,
Not
mm.
everybody, not
I
everybody.
think people will be really surprised to hear that. I
Yeah,
think not the fact that it's happening, because obviously people know that it's happening,
right.
but I don't think people would be. I think people will be surprised that when you come home, that someone coming home and seeing this, that this would be a thing that's startling to you or surprising to you. And so I'm really glad that you shared that. Um, what feels familiar and what feels completely foreign?
Familiar. Uh, familiar. I would say the that connection that you spoke of that we have, not just you and I, but our family. You
Mm-hmm.
know, though I've been gone 44 plus, uh, I've stepped back into this, and it almost feels like, with respect to the connection, like I didn't leave.
Mm-hmm.
The way y'all have welcomed me back into this. I mean, I'm not gonna say it automatically did. It took a minute, like I say, for me, like I say, just like I thought I was gonna wake up from this dream, but
Yeah.
it took a second for me to get back used to it. But once I got centered, it was like, wow. it- we're just like old friends meeting again, and
Yeah.
that shouldn't be surprising, because
Yeah.
we're family, but
Yeah.
that's very surprising that how natural it has been, because I know a lot of people who this it's not that journey of reestablishing themselves back with their family is sometimes a rocky road, and
Yeah.
sometimes they never reconnect, you
Mm.
know. And I was kind of wondering about that myself, because I understand that, I'm going to have to get used to something. But well, sometimes we, as dudes who do a lot of time, we don't understand that people have to get used to us as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they have to get used
Yeah.
to us because we're coming with some bad habits, some some uh uh some I'll refer to them as some idiosyncrasies or aberrations. For instance, like in prison, uh we shower with some guys shower with their boxers on.
Hmm. Yeah.
Especially when you have community showers,
Yeah.
when there are a lot of new guys will shower with their boxers on, not necessarily out of fear of anything, but just out of respect. So we ain't around there
Yeah.
flapping all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, what would I look like doing showering in my boxers in here? Well, an- a- another thing, and it just flips me out that in prison and even in county jails, guys, when they brush their teeth or spit, they don't spit in the sink, and it's looked at as disrespectful if you spit in the sink.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I can understand why that would be disrespectful. Somebody would find that, but when was the last time I spit in the toilet when I was on the street? I spit in the
Yes.
sink.
Yes.
When I brush my teeth, I spit and turn the
Yes.
water on. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
So imagine
Yeah.
me brushing my teeth and walking over to the toilet. Somebody's like,
Yeah.
but again, people are gonna have to get, people gonna look at me like, okay. So, we don't sometimes we don't even take into account that people gonna have to get used to us and some of our ways too as well. So,
One of the things that dawned on me since you've been home, so when whenever we would talk um, over the phone, we would engage in in-depth conversations like so frequently. And so when you came home, like for me, I'm like ready for that. I'm like, yeah, we got to get back into, we're gonna do it like this. But trying to engage you in the same way that I would engage you on the phone has been a little different. And so it
okay.
hit me that because I wasn't ever calling you, you were calling me. And so whenever you called me, you were ready to talk,
Right.
and so that's a major difference in, connection and communication
Right.
because and it dawned on me. I was like, because one part of me is like just trying to balance this thing out well, give you the time that you need and still engage you and understanding, that this is new, that you're experiencing a lot, that I mean, nobody loves you like me. I mean, other than mama, but you know, everybody want to put their hands on you, touch you, talk to you, hang around you. Yeah, Ethan. Okay, it's mine. Anyway, no one, Zane, Cubala, Lucille, let me just keep throwing people out there, loves you like I do. But other people want to touch you, want to talk to you, want to spend time with you. And so I'm trying to make sure that I don't overwhelm you while I kind of wait for us to re-engage life like we have before. And it just came to me, that um, when we would engage in these conversations, you were ready to talk, and
Mm,
so you had time to sit and think. And I don't know if I would just, um, if calling you an introvert is accurate, but that's what my experience has been since you've been home, that you're more of an introverted thinker, that you're a deep thinker and you take in thoughts. And then after sitting with them for a while, then you kind of come out with your thoughts. That's been my experience lately. And so
right.
that's kind of how I was able to, to come to that um, conclusion without having a conversation with you. And it's just a trip. It's just, you keep learning new things. And so when if I had to even kind of look at it from the perspective of what feels familiar, it's like this is my brother. Um, and and the foreign part is this is my brother. It's like both. It's the coin. It's the same thing. It's the same coin, but just two different sides of it. And so I love learning, and so it's a beautiful experience for me. So yeah, so when you said that, that's what it prompted for me.
Hmm.
The other question I have for you, what's been harder than you expected? And then also what has been easier?
Oh, the hardest thing has been to adjust to how, and I really don't want to use this word, but it's gonna kind of like I think when it comes out, I hope it doesn't come out the wrong way, but it's the best word I can use to describe what I'm trying to say. People are much more ruder than they used to be now. People are very rude. I mean, in prison, there are guidelines that there are going to be immediate consequences when you violate these lines. There are going to be immediate consequences. Whereas out here, somebody will just like road rage is real. Oh, road
Yeah,
rage is real out here, right?
yes,
Uh, you really have to be careful when you cut in front of somebody. You
yeah,
got to be careful when you blow your horn at somebody. Next
yeah.
thing you know, somebody's on the side of you with a gun. You know what I'm saying? People will bump into you. Won't even say excuse me. Uh, even especially in prison, but I mean, I think this is kind of like anywhere. The B word, when one man calls another man the B word, that's automatically that's fighting words. It's gonna be a get out right. I mean, people are just so rude now, uh, considering what having a concern about how what they may be doing, whether it be walking, bumping into them, whether it be cutting them off, whether it be jumping and cutting the line at the checkout counter. If people don't care, they have no concept. Yeah, look, this it's just and for me, I have to get used to. I have to understand that I can't take those same standards, those same points of views, or that same. I can't bring a prison mentality to the streets and think I'm going to survive this. I can't take
Sure,
these things personal.
sure.
That's been the hardest adjustment. The easiest adjustment has been again. I'll say this again meshing back with my family. That's been easy, and
Hmm.
I thought it was gonna be a little harder, uh, especially with my nieces and my nephew who weren't even. So when I left the street, y'all were still kids.
Yeah,
Y'all were kids.
yeah. I told you
I
guys I was much, 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 much younger than this man. Go ahead.
whatever. Y'all were kids. Now y'all have kids, and your kids have kids.
Yeah,
Y'all are grandparents now. Y'all didn't
yeah,
even have kids when I left the street.
yes, yeah,
And for me, uh, 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 messing with them for me, I thought was going to be kind of awkward because I knew that they did not know me like y'all knew me. They had nothing to judge on but what they heard, what they
yeah,
believe, what they've heard about prison, what they heard about my behavior in my early years. Those were the only thing, and I knew these were the things that they had to go on. And I was really concerned whether or not I was going to be able to overcome that when I'm trying to introduce myself, not only initially, but to mesh myself into this family unit that has been without me for 40 some years. And it's surprisingly been very smooth. Actually, it's been very smooth, and that's the most surprising thing for me, you know.
yeah,
And for real, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm just so
yeah,
grateful for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
Mm.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, I mean, if I had to speak to that, um, I can't. imagine it any different. You know, so when you say it, I'm like, I understand the concern, and then at the same time, I'm like, but one of the things I know to be true is my children love whatever I love. They love whoever I love. Whatever emotions they are experiencing from me, because in general, it's going to just be emotional because I don't inform people of people because I love for people to experience a person, and I don't want a person necessarily be changed, their opinion to be changed based on my encounter with a person. So in general, my kids are just going to pick up on what I feel emotionally, and so my expectation. I didn't know this. I had to actually tell me this, but my expectation of my children is kind of based on my experience as it relates to that. And I didn't even think, oh, they love you because I love you. I thought my kids just love people, until they don't. But but yeah, so it's an interesting thought to to sit with because it is something, and I think that is natural in general. And well, I'm glad it's been good, not only from my kids, but the rest of your nieces and nephews as well. You
Exactly.
know, everybody, everybody's excited. Everybody got love, and it is what it is. And I've told you since you've been home, you are the missing piece, and just you being put back into this puzzle aligns so many things. I know. Remember, we used to do puzzles as kids, and you just wrestling with stuff until you find that one piece, and then once that one piece in you, it all makes sense now.
Right,
And that's
right.
kind of that's what is happening. That's what you are and who you are in this family. And so it's just a beautiful thing to have this experience. It really does wash away the 44 years. It
Yeah.
washes it away, in a sense. And so emotionally, especially. Um, what do you think people on the outside misunderstand about time, freedom, or patience? And you don't necessarily have to speak to all of them, pick one. But what do you
Time,
think that they under?
patience, and freedom.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us take our, off the top, I'm starting to most obvious. A lot of us take our freedom for granted.
Mm-hmm.
You never know, you never, you never miss something till it's gone. We take our freedom for granted. Uh, as well as the time. Time is such a precious commodity that it goes by so fast in our day to day here that we really don't. It's just like water, it's always around. So, but let turn on that faucet one day and nothing comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Panic sets in. You know,
Mm-hmm.
time is the same way. Uh, once you start developing these gray hairs, developing these aches and pains in your joints, it starts getting a little harder to stand up than it used to be, and you
Or
start
do
real
those squats that we did yesterday.
the ones that I outdid you on, okay, the one that I saw you kind of panicking on, once we got to, it's okay though, it's okay. But
The
anyway,
ones you saw on today, and my
not
legs
even,
are fine.
not even. But
Oh, okay.
you just like I say, until these things start happening, you start realizing that you've lived more years than you have left. Uh, you know,
Mm,
uh, but freedom, time, and patience. Patience, that'll cliche is a virtue. It really is, man. It's a commodity. It's really a commodity that is and it's a prerequisite to success,
mm,
regardless of whether it's in financial success, whether it's in personal accomplishment, whether it's wherever. Patience is something that we all must have. In this world, we've been so accustomed to everything being done right now. Instant coffee, instant noodles. We live in an instant society where we want immediate gratification. And the way technology has been geared, it provides that. And
yeah.
we and so now, we're accustomed to that. you
Yeah.
can't it's impossible to for a kid nowadays to understand that back in the 80s we had to push rewind or fast forward on a cassette tape. They don't have no concept of that.
No concept. But when the tape broke too, how you had to like put tape
So
that thing back together.
take the thing exactly. They have, you look at the computers, or I'm saying computers, but tablets and laptops, the things you do now to get to the information on now, whereas before, back in say, I remember back when Windows 95 came out, uh, by the time we got a hold to it in here, it was already like 10 years old. But the things you do to get to the information or get it to do what you want to do now, you had to go through all these different steps. Now you just push one step, get right to it. You can't tell a kid nowadays or make them understand how, well, back in the days we had to do this and we had to do that. So, what you mean now, man? Just push a button. What do you mean? You had to do that? You know what I'm saying? So the idea of patience is kind of lost
Hmm.
on this generation, and not only just this generation. I don't want to just assign that to one generation. It is because of the way society is. Today's advancement is tomorrow's old news.
Hmm.
It's just how it is. So patience really gets lost. And it's those who understand and maintain patience are the ones, in my opinion, that will remain relevant. That will remain relevant. You know, without
Hold
patience,
on.
man. Go ahead.
Hold on 1 second for me. Sorry. So sorry. I'm sorry. She did catch my attention. I did hear you speak to
But I say,
technology.
yeah, yeah. But I was addressing your question about what patience, what society doesn't understand about patience. Like I say, in here, we're forced to have patience to some degree.
Did you hear
Uh,
yourself saying in here?
no.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think maybe this is only the second time you've
Oh,
done
my
it.
bad. Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah, I got to remember I'm not in there no more. But in prison, wow, got to get out of that. But anyway,
Yes.
in prison, uh, you're kind of forced to have patience.
Yeah.
You don't, uh, you're forced to wait, just like you're forced to wait for your release date. You have no
Yeah.
choice but to wait.
Sure.
Uh, Even when you are appealing something, or doing some legal work, you have to wait for this process.
Hmm. Hmm.
You wait to wait. Uh, Patience is definitely uh, a virtue,
Hmm.
but it's becoming a lost art.
Hmm.
It's becoming a lost art for real. Wow.
Um,
You just really made me conscious of saying in here, wow, that is a trip. I gotta get out of that.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, it's been 44 years.
yeah,
But it also, I think what it does, and I was saying this earlier, it speaks to the length of time you were there, what you are accustomed to, but it also speaks to when you talk about it, you're finding yourself back there.
yeah,
Um, you're speaking from that space. And I could say the same thing is true. I was saying earlier that when you're talking about what happened, or a time period in our early years, I'm instantly taken back to that same moment too. And so it feels like you're speaking very much in the
right.
presence of the conversation. But I was thinking, I don't know if he know he's saying this.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me of that. I'm definitely gonna be conscious of that now. Oh, like I definitely be conscious of that. And it's like when y'all be talking about me when I'm going back to this transitional house. I got I was talking to somebody say, where you at? Oh, I'm at home. I immediately go, well, no, I'm at the transition house. This is not home. And I had to really catch myself about that.
Yeah, words are
So,
really
but
powerful.
yeah, so thank you for bringing that to my attention. Thank you. I
So,
need that.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because I'll be bringing a lot of stuff to your attention. I'm glad you've given me the permission to continue to
Yeah.
do that.
But just like I give it, I can take it away.
Just like you what? You take
Just
it,
like
you
I
give
give
it.
permission, I can take it away.
Oh,
Especially when I
hold
think you're
on.
abusing it. When I think you're abusing
Oh,
it.
hold on, big bro. Hold on, big bro. Okay. If you could speak to to the younger version of yourself, or to someone who feels trapped right now, what would you say?
I would say listen to those who have life experiences. And just because their life experiences are not necessarily what you want to hear or necessarily what you want to agree with or or you think is old fashioned, man, what we're going through is just recycled. The people, our elders, know what they were talking about. And uh I have what you call, I'll just call it those aha moments. To this very day, I still have aha moments about things elders or people, generations before me were trying to tell me back in my younger days that I didn't couldn't grasp at that moment. But every day I'm seeing, oh, that's what they were talking about. I'm facing something that is just so geared to what they were trying to tell me that it just makes me have to just like, wow, if I just listen in. If I
Mhm.
could tell my younger self something, it would be listen to those who have the life experiences. Nothing
Mhm.
can replace life experiences.
Facts. Facts. Yes, I absolutely agree with that. You know, when I think my kids are extraordinary, and maybe every parent thinks their are extraordinary. So I'll give, you know, I'll allow that to be. My kids, to me, are extraordinary, and very intelligent, and um, like their understanding is beyond their years. And that's true not only for my children, but also for my grandchildren. It's beautiful for me to watch. But one of the things that I understand when you talk about experience is that you can be extremely intelligent, but don't have the experience to match it. And it
Right,
just creates so many um fumbles,
right, right,
and so what you're saying is true. It's like if you could take if you could listen to the experience of others, you still got to have your own experience, but it could
right, right,
speed it up. It
right,
could speed it up.
right,
And I don't say that to just put my kids out there because that's just true for me. Like
right,
I would rather my mom said about me that I was extraordinary, and so intelligent. So I wouldn't have to say it about myself. But I do know that there were so many things that I could have, uh, I didn't have to fumble so many times if I had
right,
just listened,
right, right,
just listened. And no one could have told me that. And I can't tell my kids that, or I haven't been able to, well, they're adults now, so it doesn't really matter, whatever. They live in their own life. But if kids, I used to hear people say all the time, the youth is wasted on the young, and I understand what they mean in terms of physically, but also if I knew then what I know now, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, life would be, I would be so much further ahead. And so all that to say, I agree with you in that sense. And so I'll end with this last question. Um, What are you most looking forward to becoming now?
I'm looking most to becoming a person who my nieces, nephews, but most importantly, my mama can look to and say, he finally got it.
Yeah.
He finally got it.
And that would be the exact look on her face because you look just like Mama when you said that. He
Yeah,
finally got it.
he
Wow.
finally got it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
awesome. That's awesome. Well, I really, again, I'd say I appreciate your time. There's nothing better than being at home on this podcast with you. And I am excited about our segments moving forward. And if anyone didn't have an opportunity to listen to part one, I think it would be a blessing, a sheer blessing for you to hear how we got here. And
Yes,
so,
sir.
I don't know if you have some last words, but we're going to close this segment out.
Mm. See you next time.
Again, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the Better People podcast this year. It is my audacious goal to have a guest every week. And so let's see if I can accomplish this. Remember that the fastest way to understanding is by listening. And I hope that I've provided you with an opportunity to hear an experience that will change your perspective of people. And by doing so, you become a better person. Bye bye.
Peace. All righty.